Welcome back to Real Talk. Today's episode will be featuring Pro Evolution Soccer. It's just me and Deebuk today, so let's dive straight in.
When did you first get into PES?
We're going way back. I think the earliest PES I can remember must be ISS 1998, where like, one of the things I remember from that game was the way the players stood. Their legs were so far apart. It was hilarious.
Well,
but that was still a good game,
What console
though.
was that on?
I can't even remember. ISS 1998. That's the earliest I remember. But I'd say I fully got into PES. Must have been Pro Evolution Soccer 3. Shout outs to one of my boys. I always used to go around his house and we played PES on his PlayStation, and I just got really good. And then I think for Pro Evolution 4, I got myself a PlayStation. And then, you know, the rest, as they say, is history. I continued playing PES up until probably PES. Pro Evolution Soccer 2006 was the last PES that I fully enjoyed. I played 2008, but it wasn't great. I think that was the point when PES kind of started going downhill.
I first got into PES when it was called Wingin' 11. I think I had some Japanese version of the game for my PlayStation 1, I think. So this was like 2000 time, like 2001. Yeah, and that's what got me into the game, because I used to be a FIFA guy. I used to play, I think I started, FIFA 94 or something? I was playing games with my SNES and my Mega Drive. So I was always a FIFA guy then, but over the time as I got older, FIFA was not very realistic. So I moved on to PES and I fell in love with the game, and then that's literally all I played for the next nearly 10 years probably. So I was a huge PES fan. What made PES better than FIFA?
I'd say one of the biggest things for me that made PES a more enjoyable game was it didn't feel like things were automatic. It felt like if I aim the ball here, the ball goes there. Not in FIFA where you don't have to aim a direction, you press A, the ball will go to a teammate. In PES, it wasn't. PES felt manual in comparison to FIFA. So that was one of the big things. The fact that PES wasn't automatic meant that when you scored a nice goal, you've done a 30 plus pass move, or you've done some nice dribbling or whatever, and you scored a good goal, you actually got a sense of achievement almost, which I've always felt that FIFA has never had. Similarly, PES, you get a bunch of friends together, you could play PES for hours on end. People would be happy to sit back and watch two guys go at it. But with FIFA, when you try and do the same thing, you get a bunch of guys in the same room, try and have a FIFA tournament. It just weren't the same, because PES was so authentic that I watched guys fall out with each other, like friendships.
That's happened a few times.
Even talking to today, PES ended friendships. Guys, they're not speaking anymore. But FIFA could never really capture that emotion. Yeah. So that was definitely another factor.
One of the things that made PES better than FIFA for me was the realism. FIFA was kind of a joke game when you think about it. You could pass the ball to your keeper. Your keeper could do endless skills, go past your whole team doing rainbow flicks, whatever, and could just go and score. It wasn't realistic, so I think back then every player could do skills, every player could do ridiculous skills. So it wasn't an enjoyable experience. It didn't. There was like with PES, it had the competitive edge, and like Shady was saying, you have much more competition with your boys, and you can appreciate the game much more. Another thing that made PES better was the overall gameplay. I think the gameplay on PES was really good back in the day. I think no other game was touching it. When you think about it, there was a few games that was out back then. It weren't just FIFA and PES. There was
This is football.
This is Football, Total Soccer. There was quite a few games. I think there was this one where it's like you could get red cards and stuff.
Yeah, where the whole aim of the game was to just foul people.
Just to foul people. There was quite a few games. There was some of them were gimmicky, but then that's how I saw FIFA. FIFA was on a gimmicky side of football. All it had was the presentation, but the gameplay realistically was awful compared to PES. PES blew everyone away, and I think it was just a superior game than all its competition. So that's why a lot of people was playing PES. Like back in the day, no one would say, "Oh, let's play FIFA." Everyone's like playing PES. Everyone, if you're gonna play a football game, it had to be PES, and it was probably the best football game, best football series that arguably was ever created. I think it was better than any game that FIFA has released.
It's just a shame that it didn't come out during the online gaming era, because that would have been.
It would have probably blew up if it tried to in 2006. It was using like PlayStation 2.
You could play online, but it was awful.
Then it moved on to Xbox 360, and it was alright. It was alright, but
I think lag was a huge problem.
Lag, because when you think about it, everyone was playing offline. It was mainly an offline game, so everyone's used to playing offline with their friends. So when you played online, and it was like 2-3 seconds delay, it was very frustrating. So I think that's where they really struggled on. Did presentation bother you? Such as, anyone that doesn't know about PES, back in the day, it had no licenses, so
North London,
it's like Tottenham would be North East London, then you have Arsenal as North London, you have
Manchester Blue,
Manchester Red, stuff like that, and that was the name of the Premiership teams. Now, in this day and age, you would find that
that's a game.
Yeah, a bit of a joke, but back in the day, that was how the game was. So, did you find it? How did you find it? Was it annoying, or didn't even bother you really? Like,
nah, it definitely bothered me.
Yeah.
It bothered me to the point of I wouldn't be able to really enjoy the game, leaving it in its default setting where, it's West London white and all that, and you've got random, like Ruud van. All these random names.
That's another thing. The names,
the player names.
It wasn't just the team names; it was the player names. So it would have a similar name.
But you could kind of tell.
You could tell who was who.
Yeah. So no, that was annoying. So what I would normally do, I can't remember which PES I started doing it from, but definitely from 5 onwards, maybe even 4. You'd be able to get memory cards, which would sort of convert all the team names and the kits and the player names to exactly all the badges to like the real life equivalents. So that kind of made it was no longer a problem because you could play with the authentic kits and all that stuff. So I think if I wasn't able to do that, it would have been a big problem. Whether that would have stopped me playing it, it's hard to say, but there was an alternative, and that was just getting a memory card with everything on it. So it wasn't really a problem.
I think like Shady it didn't bother me that much, but I knew you could change it. The good thing about PES is that it had a really good customization editing system, so you could easily edit it yourself technically, but that's long. So there was people online that would edit all the teams, all the player faces, all the player names, and literally just put it into one small file that you can download onto your memory card, and then everything was there. And then the game felt even more enjoyable than because it would be like the gameplay and the presentation like FIFA had. And if anything, it had better graphics, I suppose, than FIFA, and it had better presentation because the customization was good. So once you downloaded the memory file, I think it didn't really bother you. Were there players abusing the system, such as formations, or was there certain OP players that people would use, knowing they can get something out of it? So was there people abusing the system on PES back in the day?
Definitely. Because the nature of the game, it was so competitive because it was an offline game. So a lot of it was playing against your friends and people you knew. So anything you could do to get the competitive edge. So I know one or two glitches, or whatever you want to call it, I can remember was one where if you went into formation edit, and I think if you dragged your strikers right up to the edge of the pitches, basically in the corner flags, I think it would make your player, your two strikers, like impossible to mark. So they'd always be free for whatever reason. So some people use that. I personally didn't. That's one thing. But in terms of glitches, I can't really think of anything else that was game breaking. But when it comes to OP players, you could probably reel off a list as long as you're wrong. But
who's the main ones? Who's the two main ones?
The two standouts. This must have been Pro Evolution Soccer 5. I think one of them was on the cover as well. Adriano and Ibrahimovic.
99 shot power.
I have the utmost respect for your life if you were a pro player and you remember how OP they were. I think that year, Pro Evolution Soccer 5, Inter had the most overpowered team in the game. Even their back line, was it Cordoba? He had crazy pace.
They have Cordoba,
and then
Zanetti.
Up front, exactly, Zanetti.
Yeah.
Up front, Dida in goal. No,
they had
AC Milan. Yeah, who's they having goal? I can't remember. But either way, they had
Todo.
Yeah,
Todo. That's it.
OP, so OP. And then up front, they had obviously Adriano, Ibrahimovic. Even they had Cruz, who certain times you could bring him on and he could do a job. And then they also had
Didn't they have Recoba?
Yeah, Recoba as well. Yeah, he was a crazy player. Great free kicks. And they had another guy, another black striker, mad pace, very good dribbling.
I think it was Suarez.
Yeah, something like that.
Suarez.
So they were stocked, even to the point where I sometimes would play Ibrahimovic in midfield.
Wow.
Because
one of them players.
Those of you that remember the body balance stat, basically means his strength. Ibra and Adriano's strength must have been 98, maybe even higher, out of 100 this is. So you put Ibra in midfield, you're not taking the ball off him, and he could shoot from basically anywhere in your opponent's half, and the keeper's in trouble.
Yeah.
So play him midfield, and then you've still got quality up front. So yeah, those two are OP.
And that's it for Real Talk PES Edition. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Let us know what you think. If there's anything you'd like to see in a future Real Talk episode, then do let us know in the comments.
Remember to hit that like button and most importantly subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on social media.
You guys have been great.
I've been great.
Thanks for watching. Peace. Try to snap the disc into two, not even half-hearted, like the two ends of the disc are touching.